Okay, so Ritesh Prabhu, if you can see the screen.
Not yet, Prabhuji. I can still see the Gmail only.
Okay, good. I don't know where is this. Now?
Yes.
Okay.
So we finished till text 20, I think, last time.
Yeah, but you can begin from there.
Yes. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. The highest authority of me is the unlimited Supreme Personality of Godhead, from whom this wonderful creation emanates and in whom its sustenance and dissolution rest. He is the origin of all Prajapatis, the personalities meant to produce living entities in this world. Sri Maitreya said, O great Vidura, the sage Kardama said this much only and then became silent. Thinking of his worshipable Lord Vishnu, who is a lotus, who is a lotus on his navel, as he silently smiled, his face captured and mind of Devahuti, who began to meditate upon the great sage. After having unmistakably known the decision of the queen, as well as that of occasion, such as jewelry, clothes, and household articles, in dowry to the bride and uh, can you scroll down, Prabhuji? Bride and bridegroom. Thus relieved of his responsibility by handing over his daughter to a suitable man, Swayambhuva Manu, his mind agitated by feelings of separation, embraced his affectionate daughter with both his arms. The the emperor was able to bear the separation of his uh, the emperor was unable to bear the separation of his daughter. Therefore, tears poured from his eyes again and again, drenching his daughter's head as he cried, "My dear mother, my dear daughter." After asking and obtaining the great sage's permission to leave, the monarch mounted his chariot with his wife and started for his capital, followed by his retinue. Along the way, he saw the prosperity of the tranquil seers, beautiful hermitages on both the charming banks of Saraswati, the river so agreeable to saintly persons. Overjoyed to know of his arrival, his subjects his subjects came first from Brahmavarta to greet their returning lord with songs, prayers, and musical instruments. The city of Barhismati, rich in all kinds of wealth, was so called because Lord Vishnu's hair dropped there from his body when he manifested himself as Lord Boar. As he shook his body, this very this very hair fell and turned into blades of evergreen kusha grass and kasa, another kind of grass used for mats, by means of which the sages worshipped Lord Vishnu after defeating the demons who had interfered with the performance of their sacrifices. Manu spread a seat of kusas and kasas and worshipped the Lord, the personality of Godhead, by whose grace he had obtained the rule of terrestrial globe. Having entered the city of Barhismati, in which he had previously lived, Manu entered his palace, which was filled with an atmosphere that eradicated the three miseries of material existence. Emperor Swayambhuva Manu enjoyed his life with his wife and subjects and fulfilled his desires without being disturbed by unwanted principles contrary to the process of religion. Celestial musicians and their wives sang in chorus about the pure reputation of the emperor, and in early morning every day he used to listen to the pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead with a loving heart. Thus, Swayambhuva Manu was a saintly king. Although absorbed in material happiness, he was not dragged to the lowest grade of life, for he always enjoyed his material in Krishna consciousness atmosphere. Consequently, although his duration of the life gradually came to an end, his long life, consisting of Manavatara era, was not spent in vain. Ever since, he engaged in hearing, contemplating, and writing down and chanting the pastimes of the Lord. He passed his time, which lasted 71 cycles of 4 ages, always thinking of Vasudeva and always engaged in matters regarding Vasudeva. Thus, he transcended the three destinations. Therefore, O Vidura, how can persons completely under the shelter of Lord Krishna in devotional service be put into miseries pertaining to the body, the mind, the nature, and other men and living creatures? In reply to the questions asked by certain sages, Swayambhuva Manu, out of compassion for all living entities, taught the diverse sacred duties of men in general and different varnas and ashramas. I have spoken to you. I have spoken to you of the wonderful character of Swayambhuva Manu, the original king, whose reputation is worthy of description. Please hear as I speak of the flourishing of his daughter Devahuti. Yeah, thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you very much, Suryatesh Prabhu. I'm happy that you finished reading the chapter. Hope you found it very nice, happy, and yeah, useful.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Yeah. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. नारायण नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवतसेवया भगवति उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकीनन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपीश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तु ते वञ्चाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानन्द श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृन्द हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. Okay, yeah. This chapter entitled sorry, the marriage of Kardama Muni and Devahuti. Yeah, in the first half we were discussing last week about uh, Swayambhuva Manu. He came personally to the place or hermitage where Kardama Muni was present and offered his daughter. Yeah, and then we are here in this part where there is first, I think, few verses which we didn't cover last time, though Suryatesh Prabhu read. I think it was about, she's beautiful. Yeah, did we discuss about Vishwavasu last time? I don't think so.
No, Prabhuji, we discussed till 16.
16, correct. Yeah, so here we, yeah, Kardama Muni also very well know the beauty of Devahuti. Yeah, and the example here, I have heard that Vishwavasu, the great Gandharva, his mind stupefied with infatuation, fell from his airplane after seeing your daughter playing with a ball on the roof of the palace. Yeah. So here it shows that Gandharvas, who themselves are very, very beautiful, charming, but they are captivated and here Vishwavasu. Uh, if you, I think in one of Ramayana class, I think, or in Bhagavatam, I was mentioning Vishwavasu is Gandharva, and he is also, yeah, can be connected to Kabanda in Ramayana, because Vishwavasu, who is Gandharva, who is proud of himself, and then he was cursed, and due to the curse, he appeared as Kabanda, and Rama in Ramayana, Rama hmm, uh, frees him from the curse. Yeah. So the same Vishwavasu, he was also very much captivated. It's also that Vishwavasu. Mm, there is also some connection with Menaka, who is very beautiful. Yeah, and they had a daughter with Menaka called Ruru, I think. Yeah, but coming to the main point here is that this shows how beautiful is Devahuti, and this is also well known to um, Kardama Muni that he heard. And in this connection, there is this Hermia means a very big palatial building. Yeah, this proves that in those days also, yeah, there were very, very big, tall buildings, and um, that Swad Vimanat means from his own airplane. It is suggested that private airplanes or helicopters were also current in those days. Yeah. The Gandharva Vishwavasu, while flying in the sky, could see Devahuti playing ball on the roof. This also says ball playing was also there in those days, but only aristocratic girls would not play in the public places. Hmm? So ball playing and other such pleasures were not meant for ordinary women and girls. Only princess like Devahuti could indulge in some sports. Yeah. Otherwise, why in the scripture there is a explicit emphasis mentioned here about it? It is described here that she was seen from the flying airplane. Uh, this indicates that the palace was very high. Otherwise, how could one see her from an airplane? Uh, the vision was so distinct that the Gandharva Vishwavasu was bewildered by her beauty. Yeah, and then he was captivated by the sound and beauty. He fell down. Anyway, that is only some detail about about Kardama Muni recollecting and confirming the beauty of um, Devahuti. And then he further explains that, okay, uh, what wise man would not welcome her? I mean, why? Because she is qualified, not just because of her beauty, but also of her lineage, because she is the daughter of Swayambhuva Manu and sister of Uttanapada. Yeah? And then he says, those who have not worshipped the gracious feet of goddess of fortune cannot even perceive her, yet she has come of her own accord to seek my hand. So he's saying that mm, Devahuti was more beautiful than the ornaments. Yeah, it is mentioned that the very ornament of womanhood in this verse, yeah, it is described. She is the very ornament of womanhood. Hmm? And beloved daughter of Swayambhu Manu, sister of Uttanapad. Yeah. So this is kind of a great qualification of a girl, and who will who yeah, accept a fool, or who, if someone is wise, they will definitely welcome such an offer. Uh, Kardama Muni, although a sage, was not a denizen of heavenly planets, but it is mentioned in the previous verse that Vishwavasu, who came from heaven, was also attracted by the beauty of Devahuti. Hmm. She was not only beautiful, she was a daughter of Swayambhu Manu, sister of Uttanapal. So, who could reject the hand of such a girl? And now comes very important. Therefore, he is saying, I accept this chaste girl as my wife. Just on the condition that after she bears semen from my body, I shall accept the life of devotional service accepted by the most perfect human beings. That process was described by Lord Vishnu. It is free from envy. And here let's go into the purport. Here in the purport, there is a nice explanation. What is the duty, yeah, of everyone? So, Kardama Muni expressed his desire that okay, he accepts accepts Devahuti, uh, and but he was saying there is that. Kardama Muni was in hermitage practicing celibacy. Although he had desire to marry, he did not want to be a householder for whole span of his life. Usually, I mean, we are so far from the Vedic culture, this is how we can relate. In those days, uh, after marriage, it was not considered as an endless, deep uh, well where one is not going out until one leaves the body. Yeah, they consider that our marriage life, if one enters marriage life, then he will stay forever in the marriage life. But Vedic civilization, Vedic culture is telling about that one who is disciplined and trained well in Brahmacharya life, and afterwards when he accepts the Grihastha life, yeah, then the purpose, as long as the purpose is, as soon as the purpose of Grihastha life is met, then he is looking into Vanaprastha and Sannyas order. Yeah, and Kardama Muni was in hermitage practicing brahmacharya, and although he had desire to marry, he did not want to be a householder for whole lifespan. Why? Because he was conversant with Vedic principles of human life. That is very important, that on the strength of Shastras we can understand this. Otherwise, when we see examples around us, we can only see that this idea of giving up of or leaving household after certain time when the responsibilities are fulfilled seems to be a very foolish or a very awkward or a strange action. Yeah, but Vedic literature and Shastras are saying that one's life, yeah, it's possible to perfect oneself only in human form of life, and in human form of life one should understand that it's not just, I think there is the last line, it says, according to the Vedic principles, the first part of life should be utilized in brahmacharya for the development of character and spiritual quality. So this is very important. When the character is good, then in the mode of goodness or in the mode of yeah, in devotional service, when one begets a child, then the child is also a devotee, and that is why then they enter into the marriage life. In the next part of life, one may accept a wife and beget children, but one should not beget children like cats and dogs. Yeah, it's not like, okay, it's out of one's own interest, one's own attachment, one's own passion. One should not beget children out of accident or incident, but one should very well plan that one develops quality, character, yeah, in the right order of life, which is brahmacharya life, and then practice brahmacharya even in grihastha life until one comes to the quality, and then only beget children, and that too only children who are or devotees of Lord. And in this purport, yeah, there is very nice understanding of what kind of children one should pray for. Yeah, Kardama Muni desired to beget a child who would be a ray of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yeah, that was the desire, and Lord also confirmed. That is the reason how Kapila Muni comes in. Yeah, so because the Lord blessed Kardama Muni and Devahuti that, okay, I will become your child. Yeah, this is one prayer. Two kinds. One kind of there are two kinds of children born of good fathers. One is educated in Krishna consciousness, so that he can be delivered from the clutches of Maya in that very life, which means a devotee. And then parents out of Vatsalya Bhav can also pray for a child, beget a child who is uh, a ray of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and teaches the world the ultimate goal of life. As will be described in later chapter, Kardamuni begot such a child, Kapila, the incarnation of the personality of Godhead, who enunciated the philosophy of Sankhya philosophy. So, in that way, when we are offering prayers for begetting child, we can definitely meditate on this very nice point, that we don't want just any kind of child, but we want child who is um, educated in Krishna consciousness, in the science of Krishna consciousness, so that it becomes easy for parenting, because a child, when he is good, then there is less effort to build his character, because he is already having the character and he is already attached to Krishna, so there is no need of pushing or forcing him. So, and the second kind of child is uh, mm, parents, like I think it comes here, Bhakti Vinod Thakur's example. Yeah, it will come later. Yeah, Bhakti Vinod Thakur was praying at the feet of Lord that please come, because this mankind is very much engaged in sense gratification, and they forgot who is Krishna. So you please come, and that's how Vimala Prasad, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur appeared. Yeah. So In that way, there are also parents who pray for the welfare of everyone so that everyone can become devotees. They pray that you please appear incarnate. Mm. Great householders pray to God to send his representatives so that there may be an auspicious movement in human society. This is one reason to beget a child. Another reason is that a highly enlightened parent can train a child in Krishna consciousness so that the child will not have to come back to this miserable world. So, in that way, parents should see to it that the child born of them does not enter the womb of a mother again. That's why whenever we are greeting on the occasion of someone's birthday, we pray, never take birth again. Why? Because, yeah, taking birth again means it's a failure. Yeah, one has to make success in this lifetime so that one goes back to Godhead. Unless one can train a child for liberation in that life, there is no need to marry or produce children. If human society produces children like cats and dogs for the disturbance of social order, then the world becomes hellish as it has in this age of Kali. Kardama Muni explains beforehand that he would not associate with the girl Devahuti for the whole duration of life. Now imagine previous verses showed the greatness of Devahuti, how beautiful it is, how beautiful she is, that when she is wearing ornaments, the ornaments are beautified by the beauty of Devahuti. So beautiful. And Kardama is saying that I am not interested in associating with her for the entire life. Why? Because he's not interested in enjoying grihastha or grihamedi life. Yeah? He would simply associate with her until she had a child. In other words, sex life should be utilized only to produce a nice child, not for any other purpose. After fulfilling, and this comes, after fulfilling the responsibility in Grihastashram, human life is especially meant for complete devotion to the service of the Lord. That is philosophy of Lord Chaitanya. After fulfilling his responsibility to produce a nice child, one should take sannyas and engage in perfectional Paramahamsa stage. So there are four stages within sannyas life, and Paramahamsa is the highest order. How to achieve that? By always being in association of Bhagavat. Yeah, the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is called Paramahamsa Samhita, the treatise for the highest class of human beings. Yeah, so it is not that okay, it's not telling about those mantras and hymns or rituals. Uh, and it's telling about the devotees, it's telling that devotees are supreme rather than Brahmanas. So one may think that this Srimad Bhagavatam, maybe it is for normal people. No, it is for Paramahamsas or to become Paramahamsas. The Paramahamsa is free from envy. In other stages, even in householder stage of life, there is competition and envy. But since the activities of human being in Paramahamsa stage are completely engaged in Krishna consciousness or devotional service, there is no scope for envy. In the same order as Kardama Muni, about 100 years ago, Thakur Bhakti Vinod, here we also wanted to beget a child who could preach the philosophy and teachings of Lord Chaitanya to the fullest extent. By his prayer to the Lord, he had as his child Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj, who at the present moment is preaching the philosophy of Lord Chaitanya throughout the entire world through his bona fide disciples. Yeah, and in that way, yeah, यतो भवद् विश्वम् इदं विचित्रं संस्थास्यते यत्र च वावतिष्ठते प्रजापतीनां पतिरेष मह्यं परं प्रमाणं भगवान् अन्तः. It is the highest authority. The highest authority for me is the unlimited supreme personality of Godhead. Yeah, why this is brought up is because Brahma has instructed his beings to progenate, and here uh, Kardama Muni is explaining to Swayambhuva Manu that yes, okay, that progenation, but after the progenation is over, I will not. I'm free. I am free from Devaruna. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that is mentioned here or it comes later, but want to fully focus on the highest authority, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and what is his instruction is to become devotee. He is the origin of all Prajapatis, and the personality is meant to produce living entities in this world. So ultimately, even Brahma got this order of progenation, or is everything from that Supreme Lord Vishnu. So I just follow him. Uh, Kardama Muni was ordered by his father Prajapati to produce children. In the beginning of creation, the Prajapatis were meant to produce large population, which was to reside in planets of gigantic universe. Huh. But Kardama Muni said that although his father was Prajapati who desired him to produce children, actually his origin was the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu, because Vishnu is the origin of everything. He is the actual creator of this universe. He is the actual maintainer, and when everything is annihilated, it rests in him only. That is the conclusion of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. From creation, maintenance, and annihilation, for creation, maintenance, and annihilation, there are three deities: Brahma, Vishnu, and Maheshwara, Shiva. But Brahma and Maheshwara are qualitative expansions of Vishnu. Vishnu is the central figure, therefore he takes charge of maintenance. And there is further explanation. Brahma is ordered to create and Shiva is ordered to annihilate. The middle function, maintenance, is taken charge of by Vishnu. Kardama Muni knew very well by his power in progressive spiritual life that Vishnu, the personality of Godhead, was his worshipable deity. Whatever Vishnu desired was his duty and nothing else. So this is the principle of a devotee. Who is a Vaishnava? Vaishnava is this. Whatever Vishnu desired was his duty and nothing else. He was not prepared to beget a number of children and he would only beget one child who would help the mission of Vishnu. Uh, Marrying and begetting children is considered to liquidate one's debt. Again, yeah, here comes the three runas. Actually, there are five runas. Here it's mentioned about there are many debts which are imposed upon a child just after his birth. There are debts to the family in which one is born. This is Pitrurun. There is Devarun, debts to the demigods who are facilitating everything. And then there is debts to Pitas, debts to the Rishis. But if someone engages only in the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is actually worshipable, then even without trying to liquidate other debts, one becomes free from all obligations. Yeah, Kardama Muni preferred to devote his life as a servant of the Lord in Paramahamsa knowledge and beget a child only for that purpose, not to beget numberless children to fill up the vacancies in the universe. Yeah, so it is not about how many people, how many children are born so that they can help the family to sustain financially, socially, economically, all those things. But it is even if one child is there who is of a quality of liberating others, yeah, that is more worthful. Yeah, anyway, so further, going further, there is this. Yeah, Maitreya is saying the greatness of Kardama Muni. Yeah, after speaking everything, so Kardama Muni became silent, and looked very. His smile was enchanting. As he silently smiled, his face captured the mind of Devahuti, who began to meditate upon the great sage. Yeah. Hmm. And then now everything is auspicious now. Agreement from both sides for the marriage of Kardama Muni and Devahuti, and uh, uh, queen, yeah, as well as that of Devahuti, the emperor most gladly gave his daughter to the sage, uh, who was having great qualities, and then the queen, Shatarupa, gave most valuable presents suitable for the occasion, such as jewelry, clothes, and household articles in dowry to the bride and bridegroom. So, People in today's world or in today's times, we don't accept this. Why dowry? Yeah, it's a very, very illegal thing. Or uh, but what was the purpose in those days? Yeah, because this was a tradition that was carried from beginning, is to provide bhusha, vasa. Yeah, bhusha means ornaments, vasa means vastra, the clothes, and parichadan means various household articles. All things befitting the marriage ceremony of an emperor's daughter were awarded to Kardama Muni, who was until now observing celibacy as a Brahmachari. The bride, Devahuti, was very richly dressed with ornaments and clothes. In this way, Kardama Muni was married with full opulence to a qualified wife and was endowed with necessary things for the household life. So here we see that one who is in the brahmacharya life, who is leading a simple life, who is on a who is coming out of a gurukul, building his own character, and yeah, for him the material sets may be there or may not be there when he enters into grihastha life. Yeah, so the father of the daughter, mm, or the parents, they provide. Yeah, there is some word, very nice word called goodwill. Yeah, to show goodwill. The dowry is a gift given to the daughter by the father to show goodwill, and it is compulsory. Yeah. In the Vedic way of marriage, such as dowry is still given to bridegrooms by the father of the bride. Even in power-stricken India, there are marriages where hundreds and thousands of rupees are spent for a dowry. Dowry system is not illegal, as some have tried to prove. The dowry is a gift given to the daughter by the father to show goodwill. It is not that the father is now saying, "Hey, mera kaam ho gaya." Yeah. After all, I have taken care of this daughter of my daughter for so many years. Now I am relieved of it. No, he is saying that okay, in order to have a very nice, comfortable life, facilitating the father out of affection, he is also giving it. And in rare cases where the father is completely unable to give a dowry, it is enjoined that he must at least give a fruit and a flower. Yeah, the Shastras also say that it's not like forcing the desires and ambitions of the bridegroom or his family, that I want AC, I want a car, I want that, I want this, yeah, I want property. Huh? It is not for this dowry system is not to comfort the bridegroom or his family, but this is mainly that the father of the daughter is giving so that his daughter can enjoy a comfortable grihastha life with facilities. But in the case when father is not in position financially, then at least gives a fruit and a flower. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, God can also be pleased even by a fruit and a flower. When there is financial inability and no question of accumulating a dowry by any other means, one can give a fruit and flower for the satisfaction of the bridegroom. So that said that is just a sideline, but that is the beauty of Bhagavatam. We understand that nothing can is just what do you call what is it called? Uh, Nothing is nothing is followed just out of passion or out of no reason. Um, I forgot the word. Superstitious. Yeah, nothing is like superstitious, um, or yeah, blind faith. But this is the reason. So in that way, Devahuti, mm, uh, along with Devahuti, Satarupa has provided all, and the purpose of yeah, in the form of dowry. So, thus relieved of his responsibility by handing over his daughter to a suitable man, Swayambhuva Manu, now he is free. But his mind agitated by feelings of separation. Uh, so, what happens also, we know that after the marriage, yeah, There is always like, okay, marriage is occasion where everything is so colorful, so pleasant, so vibrant, and it's all, it's a ceremony, right? Yeah, ceremony means it's a celebration. Celebration means all happiness, but all this happiness turns in the end, when it comes to a climax, that there is a deep sense of pain that the family, especially of the girl, goes through. Yeah. So on one side, the father is relieved that his daughter is married, because in society, an unmarried daughter, when she is at age of marriage, is a big burden, and the society sees it not welcoming. Uh, so that is a big relief. Yeah, this we can come to in Ramayana. We see that um King Janaka, yeah, when Sita Swayamvar, yeah, was happening, or when they failed to lift that Shiva Dhanush, yeah, um, yeah, in that connection also we see that everyone were pointing out King Janaka for what kind of mistake he has done, uh, that is not fulfilled, and it has become a burden for him, that he could not relieve his daughter, yeah, or give his daughter into for a marriage. So thus relieved of his responsibility here, Swayambhuman was happy, but at the same time his mind agitated by feeling of separation, embraced his affectionate daughter with both his arms. So here we see that yeah, after marriage, the girl goes with the boy's family and stays there. And after that, what happens is that the girl, after marriage, she is no more called as a daughter of so and so, but she is addressed as wife of. Hmm? I think that is in the purport as well. Of course, in today's world, because of technology, where everything can have WhatsApp and video calls to know the status. Um, but the well-being of the daughter in those days was not so easy to know, and when some uncertainty will be there, there is always fear, which means though the girl may be having a very nice in-laws who are taking care of girl very nicely, but because the mm, the visibility, yeah, to see his daughter or their daughter is less, and there is always this anxiety, and this anxiety and fear, everything comes to this point when the girl is handed over to the groom's family, bridegroom's family, and then there's this separation. A father always remains in anxiety until he can hand over his grown up daughter to a suitable boy. A father and mother's responsibility for children continues until they marry them to suitable spouse. When the father is able to perform that duty, he is relieved of his responsibility. And then, the emperor was unable to bear the separation of his daughter. Therefore, the tears poured from his eyes again and again. Again, in the marriage ceremony, where the tears of happiness are rolling out, but there is also tears of separation. Yeah, comes out. Yeah, in the climax where he's saying, "My dear mother," yeah, the father who is very affectionately taken care of his daughter calls out. Yeah, here it says the word Amba is significant. A father sometimes addresses his daughter in affection as mother, and sometimes as my darling. The feeling of separation occurs because until the daughter is married, she remains the daughter of the father, but after her marriage, she is no longer claimed as daughter in the family. She must go to the husband's house. For after marriage, she becomes the property of the husband. So we are talking about this. According to Manu Samhita, a woman is never independent. Yeah. She must remain the property of the father while she is not married, and yeah, we discussed this multiple times. And she must remain the property of the husband until she is elderly and has grown up children of her own. In old age, when the husband has taken sannyas and left home, she remains the property of the sons. A woman is always dependent either upon the father, husband, or elderly sons. That will be exhibited in the life of Devahuti. Yeah, this is what will happen in the next chapters. Yeah, so. Let's go a little fast. So anyway, so this is kind of winding up after the marriage ceremony. Um, Swayambhuva Manu and his wife, along with everyone, leaves the place and they enter his mm, home, yeah, or his place, which is the which is in Brahmavarta, yeah, and then the city of Barhishmati is explained here. It is so great, yeah. Why it is so great is mentioned here. Why? Because was so called because Lord Vishnu's hair dropped there from his body when he manifested himself as Lord Varaha. Huh? As he shook his body, yeah, who is that Varaha Swami, his very hair fell and turned into blades of evergreen kusha grass and kasa, huh? By means of which the sages worshipped Lord Vishnu after defeating the demons who had interfered with performance of sacrifice. Manu spread a seat of Kusha and Kasha and worshipped the Lord, the personality of Godhead, by whose grace he had obtained the rule of terrestrial globe. And then, having entered the city of Barhishmati, in which he had previously lived, Manu entered his palace. And now the beauty of here, that's why 31, 32, 30, yeah, explains about entered his palace, which was filled with an atmosphere that eradicated the three miseries of material existence. Usually, when we enter into palace, what we will look for, or when we enter into nice five-star hotel, the thing that we look is mainly comfort, lavish and luxury. Here, palace of Manu, when he entered, he definitely would have been facilitated all these things, but still he created environment within that material opulence that eradicated the three miseries of material existence. The tapatrayas, yeah, the three miseries uh, are eradicated, and in this connection, um, yeah, yeah. So um, there is nice point mentioned that one, the miseries of material existence cannot affect the stages of Krishna consciousness. Yeah, human society is meant to create a spiritual atmosphere by spreading the spirit of Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, what happens? The material world is Davagni. It is like a blazing fire that always keeps on burning us and always disturbance. uh, and tapatraya, yeah, the threefold miseries: miseries pertaining to the body and mind, miseries pertaining to natural disturbances, miseries inflicted by other living entities, yeah, adi daivika, adi bhautika, adi atmika, yeah, these are the three kleshas, tapatrayas. And human society is meant to create a spiritual atmosphere. It is not that by giving up the body, by committing suicide, Huh? One can become free from these problems. But no, by becoming devotee, by becoming Krishna conscious, by preparing a spiritual atmosphere around us, we can we can overcome all this, even in this lifetime, while we are living. The miseries of material existence cannot affect the status of Krishna consciousness. It is not that miseries of the material world completely vanish. It is not that when one becomes devotee, then all the things are gone. Now we have no problems. No, it will be there. But for one who is Krishna conscious, the miseries of material existence have no effect. Why? I think there is a word called antiseptic. Oh, yeah. We cannot stop the miseries of material atmosphere, but Krishna consciousness is the antiseptic method to protect us from being affected by the by the miseries of material existence. For example, we cannot stop tsunamis, we cannot stop earthquakes, we cannot stop wars, we cannot stop other people disturbing us. We cannot stop sometimes even our own mind and body. But when we cannot control those things, but what we can do is by becoming Krishna consciousness, we are becoming immune, what do you call, resistant to all these kind of disturbances. Why? It is something like all the Krishna consciousness is like antiseptic. It will not harm us. And for a Krishna conscious person, both living in heaven and living in hell are equal. How Swayambhava Manu created an atmosphere wherein he was not affected by material miseries is explained in the following verses. Huh? So here he says, um, yeah, there is no restriction against living with wife and children, but life should be so conducted that one may not go against the principles of religion, economic development, regulated sense gratification, and ultimately liberation from material existence. Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. These are the four the principles. The Vedic principles are designed such a way that the conditioned soul who have come to this material existence may be guided in fulfilling their material desires and at the same time be liberated and go back to Godhead. And then what Swayambhava Manu did? Yeah, Swayambhava Manu has followed his household life by following these principles. Yeah, it is stated here that early in the morning, yeah, there is very nice explanation that in aristocratic families, even today, these things are happening. That there will be a band of musicians who will come early in the morning and they play live orchestra. So that it's when the master or the owners of the house, residents of that aristocratic family, uh, they personally used to hear about the pastimes of the supreme person. Hmm. This custom is still prevalent in India in some of the royal families and temples. Professional musicians sing with Shehnai, and the sleeping members of the house gradually get up from their beds in pleasing atmosphere. During bedtime, also the singers sing songs in relation with the pastimes of the Lord with Shehnai accompaniment. This is what we call as bhajans or kirtans or kathas in Harikathas. Yeah, and the householders gradually fall asleep, remembering the glories of the Lord. In every house, in addition to the singing program, there is an arrangement for Bhagavatam lectures in the evening. Family members sit down, hold Hare Krishna Kirtans, hear narrations from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Bhagavad Gita, and enjoy music before going to bed. The atmosphere created by this Sankirtan movement lives in their hearts, and while sleeping, they also dream of singing and glorification of Lord. In such a way, perfection of Krishna consciousness can be attained. So, whatever we think now, wealth can become an obstacle in the path of bhakti. Yeah? No, Manu, who is so rich, Swayambhava Manu had no problem. Why? Because he has set up his daily routine in such a way that constantly he's always remembering Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. And then there is no problem. Millions of years of life is also not a burden. Yeah, one can continue. And then here there is nice explanation about the Mangalarti, what is the purpose, and in that way. As far as temples are concerned, in each and every royal palace or rich man's house, inevitably there is a nice temple. And the members of household rise early in the morning and go to the temple to see the Mangalarti ceremony. And the live real example given is the temple of king of Jaipur is situated within the palace, but the public is allowed to assemble. If one goes there, he will see that the temple is always crowded with at least 500 devotees. After the Mangalarti ceremony, they sit down together and sing the glories of the Lord with musical instruments and thus enjoy life. Temple worship by the royal family is also mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, where it is stated that those who fail to achieve success in Bhakti Yoga principles within one life are given a chance to take birth in next life in a family of rich men or in royal family or family of learned brahmanas or devotees. Anyway, a child born in that Krishna atmosphere is sure to develop Krishna consciousness. The perfection which he failed to attain in his last life is again offered in this life, and he can make himself perfect without fail. Yeah. So that that is the purpose. Yeah. So it is not like having. Sometimes we see that uh, we, we 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 reserve a very small place or a small rack or somewhere where the Lord is kept. After all, we are finding, yeah, how a house for me should look like. Yeah, and here from the example of Swayambhu Manu and from the example of King of Jaipur, we understand, yeah, that the central, the person is the Lord, keeping him in the center, and how by having this deity worship, having in a very nice scale, so that we can always remember him. Thus, Swayambhu Manu was a saintly king. Although absorbed in material happiness, he was not dragged to the lowest grade of life, for he always enjoyed his material happiness in Krishna consciousness atmosphere. For that matter, there is no problem. At the present moment, modern civilization is too much attached to the material way of life. Uh, um, so let me go to that connection. Yeah. The case is similar with conditioned souls in general. They have come into this material life for sense gratification, but if they are able to create a Krishna conscious atmosphere, as depicted here, or as prescribed in revealed scriptures by temple worship and household deity worship, then in spite of their material enjoyment, they can make advancement in pure Krishna consciousness without a doubt. At the present moment, modern civilization is too much attached to material way of life or sense gratification. Therefore, the Krishna consciousness movement can give the people in general the best opportunity to utilize their human life in the midst of material enjoyment. In spite of their enjoying the material advantages, they can be liberated in this very life by practicing Krishna consciousness by the simple method of chanting the holy names of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So in that way, and then what happens consequently, although his duration of life gradually came to an end, uh, Swayambhu Manu, what happened? He achieved the success. I think it's written here on next verse. Was not spent in vain. His time was not spent in vain, since he ever engaged in hearing, contemplating, writing down, and chanting the pastimes of the Lord. Um, the life of Swayambhu Manu was not tasteless. As he grew older, his life remained as fresh as in the beginning because of his continued Krishna consciousness. So the life of a man in Krishna consciousness is always fresh, unlike one who is only material enjoying. There is something. Here, good example. Freshly prepared food is very tasty, but if kept for 3 or 4 hours, it becomes stale and tasteless. So the material enjoyment may look very tasty, but later it becomes tasteless, and everything appears to be vain and painful. But for Krishna conscious person, in the example of Manu, yeah, the life of a man in Krishna consciousness is always fresh. It is said that the sun rises in the morning and sets in the evening, and its business is to reduce the duration of everyone's life. Which means whenever a day is changing, then the life is also reducing, right? But the sunrise and sunset cannot diminish the life of one who engages in Krishna consciousness. Swayambhu Manu's life did not become stale after some time, for he engaged himself always in chanting about and meditating upon Lord Vishnu. He was the greatest yogi because he never wasted his time. He is especially mentioned here, Vishnu kurvato bhruvataha katha. When he talked only of Krishna and Vishnu, the personality of Godhead. When he heard something, it was about Krishna. When he meditated, it was about Krishna and his activities. So, having such a long lifespan was, yeah, people usually think, why such a long life? Lord, please take me away. I am not unable to bear the pain. But for Manu, who had such a long lifespan, he engaged in Krishna consciousness by chanting, hearing, talking about, and meditating upon Krishna. Therefore, his life was not wasted, nor did it become stale. Hmm? And then what happens? Yeah, three conditions. He passed his time, which lasted so long, always thinking of Vasudeva and always engaged in matters regarding Vasudeva. Thus, he transcended the three destinations. This is important. If one becomes a devotee, what happens? The three destinations are meant for persons who are under the control of three modes of material nature, sattva, raja, and tamo. These destinations are sometimes described as the awakened, dreaming, and unconscious stages. Uh, in Bhagavad Gita, the three destinations are described as destinations of persons in mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance. It is stated in Gita that those who are in the mode of goodness are promoted to better living conditions in higher planets, and those who are in the mode of passion remain within this material world on the earth or on heavenly planets. But those who are in the mode of ignorance are degraded to animal life on planets where life is lower than human. Hmm? But one who is Krishna conscious is above these three modes of material nature. It is stated in Bhagavad Gita that anyone who engages in devotional service to the Lord automatically becomes transcendental to the three destinations of material nature and is situated in Brahmabhuta, or self-realized state. Although Swayambhu Manu appeared to be absorbed in material happiness, he was neither in the mode of goodness nor in mode of passion or in ignorance, but in the transcendental stage. Therefore, one who fully engages in devotional service is always liberated. And the example given here is, reference given here is Bilva Mangal Thakur. If I have unflinching devotion to the lotus feet of Krishna, then then Mother Liberation, Moksha Devi, is always engaged in my service. The complete perfection of material enjoyment, religion, and economic development is at my command. Yeah? Here Birmangala Thakur is saying that if I become devotee, then everything is at my feet for disposure, for disposition. Yeah. People are after dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. Generally, they perform religious activities to achieve some material gain and they engage in material activities for sense gratification. After being frustrated in material sense gratification, one wants to be liberated and become one with the absolute truth. These four principles form the transcendental path for less intelligent. This dharma, artha, kama, moksha. People will say, hey, if someone is becoming a devotee, he says, at this age, why are you becoming like that? Uh, first, kama. First, enjoy. For enjoying, you earn. So that artha. In that way, they keep on saying, but this is only for less intelligent. Those who are actually intelligent engage in Krishna consciousness, not caring for these four principles of transcendental methods. They at once elevate themselves to the transcendental platform which is above liberation. Liberation is not a very great achievement for a devotee, to say nothing of the results of ritualistic performance. Devotees do not care of these. They are situated always on the transcendental platform of Brahma Bhuta of self realization. I think. Yeah, no, there is one more point here in this verse. So this Sharira Manasa Divya Vayase Ye Cha Manusha Bhautikascha Katham Klesha Badhante Hari Samshrayam is the question coming. I think this is what the teacher I put. Therefore, O Vidura, how can persons completely under the shelter of Lord Krishna in devotional service be put into miseries pertaining to body, mind, nature, and other men and living creatures? So, one who becomes a devotee is not put in this tapatrayam. He is not affected by all this affliction of the miseries. So, yeah, distress, distresses due to cold in winter, severe heat in summer, always inflict miseries on living entities in this material world. But one who has completely taken shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord in Krishna consciousness is in the transcendental stage. He is not disturbed by any miseries, either due to the body, the mind, or natural disturbances of summer and winter. He is transcendental to all these miseries. I think we are done because this is kind of wrapping up the chapter saying, yeah, in reply to the questions asked by a certain sages, Swayambhuva Manu, out of compassion for all living entities, taught the diverse sacred duties of men in general and the different varnas and ashramas. So this is about the Manusmriti. Yeah, so this is uh, further glorification of Swayambhuva Manu. Yeah, and finally, I have spoken to you of the wonderful character of Swayambhuva Manu, the original king, whose reputation is worth of description. Please hear as I speak of the flourishing of his daughter Devahuti. Yeah, that comes next. Thank you very much. Are there any inputs, points that anyone want to relate? Hare Krishna Rishabh Prabhu. Yeah. So this is a teaser for the next chapters to come, which is about Kapila Deva, Kapila Muni.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhamma Pranam.
Yeah, Dandavad. Anything you want to add?
Who I am to add?
I don't know. Great devotee. Anyone would like to share any comments, questions?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji, for this nice narration. Yeah,
Mhm.
always enjoyable. Prabhuji, we heard that in a place, Brahmati, what was that? Is it on earth somewhere? It must be somewhere on earth, yeah?
Barshishmati.
Brahmati, yeah.
Yeah,
That,
maybe.
yeah,
Mm.
okay. Yeah. And Prabhuji,
I don't know the
when,
location. Yeah, that should be
yeah,
somewhere.
okay. When the stage came, when the sage said that after the marriage, I will leave. So I think he meant that after the son is grown, that who could take care of the mother,
Yeah.
yeah?
Mm. Yeah.
Not just after the marriage,
Not after just the birth.
but also, yeah. I mean, when the son is grown up, then he can take the son, right?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. When the child is this will come in the not next chapter, in the next chapter. In the next chapter,
Okay.
already after having a wonderful marriage and after having a very nice arrangement for because Devati yeah says now, and they will have 9 daughters. Yeah. So and then Kapila Dev is also born, and then Devahuti laments when Kardama Muni is leaving that, oh, I have not made my life successful in spite I am having such a great having association of such a great devotee.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
But that's very nice. I mean, next week when we are discussing that, we will discuss about how great is Devahuti, yeah, and what was her position, and still how humble she was, to say that, oh, I misused my life, I didn't make success. That is out of humbleness.
Okay, Prabhuji, yeah. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, I have a question.
Hmm.
That when it comes to artha, like earning Lakshmi for the livelihood and also for bhakti, at some point within this lecture, I mean, also in different part of the Shastras, it's said that, okay, try to live simple and think high. So have a simple lifestyle and think high. But also we see, okay, you can live a king lifestyle and still do bhakti. So two different flavors of it. So what should we strive for? I mean, should we strive for, okay, do a very luxurious and
Yeah, very nice question.
lifestyle, or should we strive for a simple one? Because fancy lifestyle might be dangerous for people like us, might get lost easily. Or so I'm just confused because many times that's the question: should I simplify myself more, or should I strive for? We should try owning more and make it more the bhakti more fancy and luxurious for us.
Yeah, very nice question. Yeah. The simple answer would be don't over endeavor for material, uh, um, don't over endeavor for material things. Yeah, So which means if you are not rich, don't endeavor to become very rich. If you are so rich, don't endeavor to become very poor. Yeah, which means there is something you can make best out of any situation. Yeah, being here Swayambhu Manu, who is a king, of course, can you imagine a king who is not wearing nice clothes and who is walking on his own, and this kind of they may see that what kind of king, maybe he's struggling to maintain financially. The value may not be there. Mm. And when as a king, when he is provided all the facilities, there is a purpose for all these things, and only thing is we have to turn it such a way that the purpose of them is to engage all these in the service of the Lord. Yeah, and Swayambhu Manu as a king, he is also responsible for the flourish of his people. And what is the best thing is that everyone is served, everyone becomes Krishna conscious, everyone becomes devotee, everyone is enlightened, facilitated, so that they can advance in the self-realization to come to this Brahma Bhuta stage. Now just coming to the point that if we say, hey, yeah, I have a job of 5,000 euros, but come on, simple living, high thinking means I should live simple. Yeah. So the question may come, should I have a job of such a high salary? Why don't I have a job of 800 or 1,000 which can also survive simple living, right? Because if I have 5,000, maybe I'll engage in all kinds of comforts. Rishabh Prabhu? Yeah, that is the question, right? So what happens is then maybe I won't be living simple. But that is the reason there is also second point, which is not just living simple, but high thinking. When we engage our high thinking means engaging our resources, whatever we have in hand, in the right, in the best way. That is high thinking. So for that matter, when we engage all these, yeah, ourself, our resources, our facilities, and if we are rich, we are able to engage more. If we are poor, else in some form. The temple situation sometimes happens that there are big festivals that are coming up, and or yeah, temples are also becoming very very big, and to maintain them, a lot of money is needed, and yeah, sometimes when devotees have this understanding that hey, simple living means not to work very hard, but to be full-time devotees, and yeah, fine, but then how to maintain the temples? We are not going to create our own energy, right? Own power. Of course, if you are self-sustaining farm, yeah, yes, but at least in the places where we are, the probability of serving the temple indirectly by financing is an option, and for that, yeah, that is high thinking. I mean, I don't know if I um, answered your question.
Yes, bro. I mean, in the end, so in the end, if I want to understand, we should not strive to earn more, or we should not strive to, for sure, if a person is earning
No,
5,000, that's
what
enough.
I'm saying is striving hard for earning more, if the objective is still to serve, to engage in Krishna consciousness, we should definitely do it. After all, you have studied, you have become an engineer, and you are in a position to earn. Rather, now you want to give up everything and want to become what do you call a fruit seller, or yeah, because Krishna says patram pushpam phalam toyam. Let me become a fruit seller or a flower florist. Huh? How much can we earn and how much can we serve?
Uh,
Hmm? And maybe that skills are anyway there, so that you can engage someone and guide them to get that done, but nevertheless you are also having a potential to even do more than that. This is main thing, yeah, where when we talk about Swami Vivekananda, he was telling the same thing. Just don't tell in the name of Lord and don't do anything. Huh? Just like yeah, when I'm saying don't have over endeavoring, people will think है भगवान ने बोला हाँ, मत ज़्यादा मत करो सिर्फ भगवान का नाम जाप करो हाँ, just take the name of the Lord then everything is done huh? But that should not be a reason that should not be a reason uh, to escape the real service. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? That now because yeah, it is all about simple. You just always yeah chant 24 hours. Are we in a position to do that with full heart and full mind and consciousness? Yes. If that is the case, then we don't have any obligation towards anyone. But we have also obligations. Yeah, until we have come to a certain stage level, we have obligations to take care of ourselves, our family, and all this is also serving the Lord. For that we need what? We need Lakshmi. For that what? We need facility. For that what? We need to work. That is also part of Krishna consciousness. As long as when we have Krishna in the center, that everything, whatever I am doing, so that I am serving the Lord and His devotees, or I am bringing people close to Him, just with preaching, yeah, where book distribution or buying books or listening or buying CDs, kirtans, or whatever we do for everything, how have we planned? That is a detail. But what should we do should be very clear. If we have resources, we should not just throw them. This is called Yukta Vairagya. Yukta means using our intelligence in such a way that we are renounced, but in not renouncing the things, but we are renouncing the propensity to enjoy the things. That is Yukta Vairagya. We don't want to enjoy for our own self all whatever we have, whatever we can have, whatever are available at our disposal. We want to use everything in the service of the Lord. We want to be detached to that. Yeah. So for that matter, yeah, when we are in a position to earn more, when we are in a position to serve, yeah, engage them in the service, very well, fine. But when we forget this very aspect and when there is a threat that we can fancy the comforts of this, yeah, then we need to take shelter of Bhagavatam more. It is not that no, I cannot handle money, so let me give up everything. It's just like if you don't know how to drive a car, don't you want to learn how to drive a car? Hmm?
Mm. Yes, Prabhu.
You definitely want to drive, right? You definitely want. Why? Because then you can go to different pilgrims. Huh? It's not that no, I cannot handle driving. Huh? As soon as I see, I sweat. No, what we do, we take nice lessons. We take proper shelter, or which we take with proper guidance, and under the guidance we learn it, and then yeah, we drive. Similarly, when we don't know how to live in this material world, we take shelter of Bhagavatam. And when we take the shelter of Bhagavatam, then we know how to exercise ourself in the prime service of the Lord. In uh, in whatever way, oh Lord, please engage me in your service. Yeah, when we are praying, then yeah, the Lord gives us facilities and also intelligence and also Guru, spiritual master, who is instructing. Yes, I see that you are expert in these things. I see that you have such a nice financial status. Why don't you just engage in preaching? Why don't you engage in taking care of so many devotees who are in need? So in that way, and when we take that as our on top of our head, yes, this is that I am going to take for my life, so that I have now a purpose to live. And when we are living that purpose, then we will become successful. Yeah.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you. Anyone else want to share something or has question?
Prabhu, so on these points, what you mentioned, so can we say that the life of Swayambhava Manu was also like simple living, high thinking, because he was
Yep.
always engaging in Krishna consciousness?
Yeah, he's a
Mm.
perfect example for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, where he didn't waste his time. Though his life, I mean, of course, we have a problem that our life is only 60 years, 70 years, or maybe up to 100 years. We even have a pressure to make best of it. In spite of having such a huge lifespan, Manu didn't waste any moment. That's why he's ever fresh. For him, living or not living, it doesn't matter. That is the stage, that is status of a devotee.
Okay, Prabhu.
Yeah, yeah, Ambarish Maharaj, Kritu Maharaj, I'm sorry, Preetu Maharaj. Yeah, they are examples, perfect examples. I don't know, all of a sudden some sound is coming, a noise. What do you say, Sudhir Prabhu? I don't know if you are there.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Sudev Prabhuji is out of station. He's in traveling.
Acha, out of station.
Yeah, he went for cars.
Acha, acha. Yeah, the most important. Just we were discussing. Okay, fine. Anything you want to add, Harika Mataji?
No, Prabhuji.
So no. Okay. Tirumala Mataji, what about you?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. No, Prabhuji, it was a nice, like today, this class was very interesting, Prabhuji. Yeah.
Mm.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, thank you. Okay, then I'll not hold on you guys longer. Thank you very much for joining. Yeah. वंशकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः श्रीलप्रभुपाद की जय ग्रंथराज श्रीमद्भागवतम की जय अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय हरे कृष्ण